The Galactic Council had seen countless species rise to join the stars, but none quite like humanity. When the distress beacon from mining station Helix 7 went silent, they sent their best, a mixed squadron of elite soldiers from across the known worlds. Among them was Kate Morrison, the sole human representative, and her partner Males Chen, a human combat medic whose reputation preceded him. The Vrexian commander, Zalthor, stood before his assembled team in the dropship's cargo bay. His chitinous plates gleamed under the sterile lighting as he examined his warriors. Each carried weapons of devastating sophistication, plasma blades that could cut through reinforced steel, energy rifles that never missed their mark, shields that could deflect small arms fire. Technological marvels, everyone. Then his multifaceted eyes fell upon the humans. Kate stood checking her equipment with calm precision. At her hip hung something that made Zalthor's mandibles click in confusion. A curved blade, roughly 2 feet long, seemingly carved from bone. Its surface was polished smooth with grip wrappings made from what appeared to be fibrous plant material. Primitive. Laughable. Even human Kate, Zalthor's translator rendered his clicking speech into standard. Surely you were issued proper armament. That artifact will be useless against the Kresh swarm. Kate looked up, her dark eyes meeting his without flinching. This artifact has killed before, Commander. It'll kill again. Males, standing beside her, adjusted the medical pack on his back and checked his own weapon, a standard-issue plasma rifle, but also a wicked-looking knife at his belt, similarly primitive in design. We humans have a saying, Commander. Beware an old man in a profession where men die young. Same goes for old weapons. The other soldiers chittered and hummed their alien laughter. The Zenthian weapons specialist, Kriya, flexed her 3-fingered hands around her dual plasma blades. Perhaps they do not understand modern warfare. On their world, they probably still throw rocks at each other. Kate smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. Something like that. The dropship shuddered as it breached the station's atmosphere envelope. Red emergency lighting cast everything in blood-tinted shadows. They touched down in the main hangar, and immediately, the screaming started. The Kresh came from everywhere, 6-legged nightmares with razor mandibles and acidic spit, their chittering filling the corridors with madness. They'd overrun the station in hours, turning it into a feeding ground. Zalthor's team moved with practiced precision. Plasma fire lit the darkness. Energy shields hummed. The aliens fought with the confidence of superior technology backing every move. Then Kate's rifle clicked empty. A Kresh warrior, larger than the others, burst from a ventilation shaft. Its body was scarred, ancient, an alpha predator among predators. It fixed its compound eyes on Kate and shrieked. The bone blade whispered from its sheath. What happened next would be analyzed in military academies for decades. Kate didn't retreat behind her team's shields. She didn't call for support. She stepped forward into the Kresh's charge and moved like water given form. The alien blade met chitin and parted it like paper. The Kresh's claw swept toward her head. She ducked under it, reversed her grip, and drove the point up through the soft joint in its neck plating. Blue blood sprayed across the walls. The creature thrashed, and Kate twisted the blade, angling it toward the brain cluster she somehow knew would be there. The Kresh fell. Silence descended, broken only by dripping blood and heavy breathing. Impossible, Kriya breathed. That blade should have shattered. The chitin of a Kresh alpha is denser than combat plating. Kate cleaned her blade on the fallen creature's hide. This isn't just any bone, Kriya. 3 years ago, on a colony world called New Perth, I faced something worse than a Kresh. We called it the Ripjack. 12 feet of muscle, claws, and teeth. It had killed 17 colonists before I tracked it to its den. She held up the blade, letting the emergency lighting play across its surface. I killed it with a mining laser and a lot of luck. But afterward, I found its bones were unlike anything we'd seen. Dense, resilient, with a molecular structure that could hold an edge better than most manufactured alloys. So I carved this, shaped it, learned it. Males joined her, his own primitive knife in hand. Humans have been making weapons for hundreds of thousands of years. We've forgotten more about killing than most species have learned. Before plasma and energy fields, we had steel. Before steel, we had bronze. Before bronze, we had stone and bone. Another wave of Kresh poured from the shadows. The team opened fire, but 3 broke through the barrage, heading straight for the Zenthian specialist. Kriya's plasma blades came up, crossing in a defensive X. The first Kresh hit her guard and recoiled, her energy fields working perfectly. The second came from the side. The third from above. Kate was already moving. Her bone blade sang through the air, taking the second Kresh in its exposed throat. Males was right behind her, his knife finding the nerve cluster that paralyzed the third mid-leap. When the fighting finally ended, when the station was secured and the Kresh pushed back into the void, Zalthor approached the humans. His warriors watched from a respectful distance. "I owe you my soldier's life," he said simply.
"And I owe you an apology."
"Your weapons."
"I do not understand them." Kate was sharpening her blade against a whetstone she'd produced from her pack, another ancient tool, seemingly out of place among the stars. "That's because you're thinking about them wrong, Commander. You see a primitive weapon. I see 10,000 generations of human experience distilled into edge and point. This blade doesn't need a power cell. It won't fail because of an EMP. It won't run out of charge in the middle of a fight." She held the bone blade up to the light. "Your people forged plasma from stars. We carved our weapons from the things that tried to kill us. Both are valid, both are deadly, but only one carries the memory of every predator humanity has ever faced and overcome." Males added quietly, "We came from a death world, Commander. Before we reached the stars, we had to survive everything our planet threw at us. Every human weapon, from the sharpened stick to the plasma rifle, carries that legacy. We don't just fight with our tools. We fight with the accumulated experience of a species that had to claw its way to the top of the food chain." Zalthor was silent for a long moment. Then his mandibles clicked in what his species used as a gesture of deep respect. "I think I begin to understand why the Council recruited humans for situations like this. You do not just have technology. You have adaptation, improvisation, the willingness to use whatever works." Kate smiled and slid her blade back into its sheath. "Now you're getting it, Commander. We're not the strongest. We're not the fastest. We don't have the best technology." She tapped the bone blade at her hip. "But we remember. And we endure. That's the human way." As they boarded the dropship for extraction, Kriya approached Kate hesitantly. "The blade," she said softly. Would you teach me to carve one?" Kate looked at the alien warrior, at the plasma blades at her belt, at the energy shield generator on her arm, and saw genuine curiosity in her eyes. "Sure," Kate said. "But first let me tell you about the Ripjack. And about Earth. And about what it takes to survive on a world that's been trying to kill your species since before you could walk upright." Males laughed. This is going to be a long trip home, and as the stars wheeled past the viewport, Kate Morrison began to teach the galaxy an old lesson, that humanity's greatest weapon was never the tool in their hand, but the unbreakable will behind it.